All right, guys, thank you for tuning into the Minority Pod with my co-host, the best lawyer in the world, most handsome guy ever, Mustafa Hawili.
Looking crusty as hell, but what's good?
The other host, Khalil Bazi, and our one-of-a-kind, Ali Farhat.
What's up, guys?
What's up, guys? So we've been pretty rusty, not uploading as much as we want, but we're getting back into it. We took a little break, and real quick, some house cleaning. For those who don't want to see our ugly faces on YouTube, we're available on Spotify. I will get everything uploaded tonight.
Inshallah.
Really bad with that. Besides that, we do have merch and big announcement about the sponsors. Do you want to go ahead and talk about it, Willie?
Yeah. So starting on the next episode, I believe, correct? Is it the next episode we're going to start it?
Yeah, next couple episodes. We're just trying to get a decent amount so we get lined up.
Yeah, so next couple episodes, we're going to start a sponsorship program in which businesses, because a lot of businesses have been reaching out to us, they want to show their support and whatnot. So we're going to start doing sponsorships in which businesses can reach out and they can sponsor an episode. We'll go into pricing at the next episode when we talk about it and we get it constructed. But long story short, a business can sponsor an episode. We'll give you a shout out in the beginning. We'll give you a shout out in the end. We'll put up your business information at the end, as well as, your phone number, your logo, and whatnot.
Okay, guys. So for those who are tuning in to wondering who the hell is Ali Farhat, tell us a little bit about yourself, Ali Farhat.
Let me say a little something first. Before I introduce myself, huge shout out to these guys. I was just telling them before we started recording that months, if not years ago, these guys were telling me about this podcast, and I'm like, you know what, I think it's a great idea. What are you guys going to do it about? And, they dove into a little bit of what their image was and what their idea was, and, to be sitting here as a guest live, watching them, be successful, bringing on great guests here. You guys are bringing on great people. I like the guy-girl combo. I like the sports versus teacher versus let's talk about marriage versus you guys are bringing on, it's the Minority Podcast. So shout out to you guys. You guys are doing something great here. As far as me, sometimes it's funny when I introduce myself. I'm like, hi, I'm Ali Farhat. And they're like, they look at me funny. I'm like, basketball Ali Farhat. And then they're like, oh, okay, now we know you. We know your mom, your dad, your brothers, or whatever. So I'm Ali Farhat. I play basketball. Used to. Who knows? I guess we'll find out during the episode. I'm a mortgage broker now. I own a mortgage company. And I'm lifelong friends with these two handsome gentlemen right here.
Yeah, so we're decent. We're pretty good friends, me and Farhat. And no, Wallah, thank you for your support and kind words. We've been talking about it for a while. Thank you for coming on. So, okay, so let's take it back. So he had just introduced himself. So for those who don't know, the biggest thing he didn't drop was this guy went from Dearborn High basketball to where you played college, and then you did the leap of getting up and going to Lebanon and playing basketball there. So how the hell did that happen?
It's a really long story, and it's kind of unique, right? Because when I was a sophomore at Dearborn High,
yeah,
right, ball is life, going to school, living just a regular teenage life kid whose dream is to play sports at the next level, let alone pro. I just want to play, college basketball, right? And I was having a successful start. I got moved up to varsity as a freshman, started getting people noticing me. I started growing a little bit. I almost got as big as Kale. Not yet, but we're still working on it. But so, one random day, I got a message on Facebook.
How long ago was this after? It was like 4 or 5 years after you graduated, right?
No, man. This is while we were in high school, sophomore year. Right. And this is some, things were kept on the low. Obviously, I didn't really want to tell people this because, a lot of the people that I did tell, they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. I got a message from, a couple of agents overseas, right? And one person in specific that I remember, and he's just, asking me about my basketball career. And I thought it was a spam. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Facebook back on the day, that little inbox notification pops up. I see somebody on there messaging me, telling me, hey, are you Lebanese? Do you want to play professional basketball? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean?
$7,500.
Seriously, I didn't answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 2 weeks later, I had this thing when I was a kid. I didn't know how to get exposure back in the day, so I would just post my highlight stats and stuff like that on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So this guy messages me again. He's like, hey, I'm being very serious. This is my name and this is, my agency and where I'm at. What's your plan for the future? And I'm like, okay, maybe this is legit. Like, I should talk to this guy, Fast forward, 10, 12 years later, he's one of my best friends and represented me for 5 years.
Damn.
Over there, right? So literally all of that started, the whole Lebanon talk, from me almost going and playing for the U16 national team my sophomore year, and that just kind of opened the door to have, you know, someone over there following my career, right? It really opened up a lot of doors for me, and it was just like almost this blessing from God, right? And, you know, there's one person I do got to shout out here as well, because there's only one other individual his name is Ali Farhat, right? Farhat was another collegiate athlete, and we don't see many guys from Dearborn playing college basketball, right? We see a lot of college football.
Yeah.
We don't see a lot of college basketball,
right?
You know, football, you can have 53 guys on a roster. Basketball, you get 15 if the coach wants to have 15.
Absolutely.
You know, so you know, chances are a lot slimmer going and playing basketball. So, anyways, Barada was playing there. Barada's having a great career, and you know, once this agent found out that there's a Lebanese population inside of America and these kids can play, that's kind of what opened the door for me. So that's how he messaged me. You know, so he followed me, guys, literally from, you know, being 15, 16 years old up until, you know, senior year when I decided I was going to go to Eastern. You know, I played at a Division I school, so that was, you know, kind of a big deal. And from there, I think at a point I was leading the country in points per minute because I was a freshman. I would just get thrown in the game for 3 minutes. I go get a steal, score, come back, sit down, wait for the next chance. It was like a wild thing. I had a buzz around my name, right? Who's this local guy who's playing here that we don't know about? And, you know, before I knew it, we had a little student section at Eastern. And these guys would, when they wanted me in the game, they would just go Ali, and then the other side would go Boumaye. Ali, Boumaye. And then before I know it, my coach would look at me and he would just give me the wink, like, go on, get in there.
Yeah.
So it was good, you know. From that message, literally, my whole
got a
career,
lot of exposure. Yeah,
I got a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, it made me like hungry, made me motivated. I'm like, oh my God, I can play pro here. So it was cool. And, you know, as a 16-year-old, that meant the world to me until you start telling some of your close people, some of your older guys you may look up to, and they're like, no. What do you mean? You can't do that. No, you're not. Okay, this guy, we'll see. He's going to play in Lebanon. Little do people know, like, they think Lebanon is, like, because it's overseas, because the culture is different.
Look at it, it's like a garbage league. It's not real.
Yeah, they look at it like it's a garbage league. I'm going to play for free. You know, there's no contracts involved. I'm, you know, throwing a wall at a wooden backboard. Like, you know, in all reality, guys, Lebanon's national team has wins over, you know, teams in countries like France, like Canada, like Venezuela, like China.
Right.
You know, like it's a top 25 league in the world. It's very respected. And I've played with, I would say, anywhere to 30 to 40 NBA players in themselves who were like fresh out of the league, fresh out of the Grizzlies, the Cavs, Golden State Warriors, and they come straight to Lebanon to play and compete to win a championship. So it's a high-level league. You can do very well for yourself financially. Right? That's a big thing I want to touch on is that a lot of people always ask me, how much do you get paid? I mean, it's similar to here, right?
Such a rude question.
It's such a rude question when I'm like here for the summer at the grocery store and someone's like tapping my shoulder like,
how much do you get paid?
Hey, are you Ali Farhat? I'm like, yeah, hey, how are you? You know, and like, do you make money overseas? I'm like, no, it's voluntarily, guys. I left my house at 21 years old, out of my comfort zone to just go.
You should just mess with them and be like, yeah, $5 million. I just signed.
Oh, no, I have. But sometimes I tell guys, no, I'm still in college, you know, so I'm like 25, 26, you know. I'm like, yeah, I still play for Eastern. We'll see maybe one day. You know, the structure of it, guys, just so you guys know, is like when you go overseas, you're dealing with now FIBA, the Federal International Basketball Association, right? So the NBA deals with everything inside America, obviously, and then anything outside of America, it's FIBA, right? So you have contracts, you have salaries, you have bonuses.
It's legit. It's not a bunch of voters
running
around.
It's very legit, right? It's very legit. If people owe you money, you can take action. You can have a lawsuit.
Right.
I don't know if your jurisdiction is outside of this country, but
it's not. But I get where you're coming from.
But you know what I mean.
No, 100%. It operates the same way it does here. It's just overseas.
So I mean, kind of, it was a great opportunity for me the way that I looked at it. Right, it was a chance for me to start making money. Right, it was a chance for me to do something that I love, to pursue something that I've put in over 20 years of work for.
No, yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
And it's a big rub in people's faces because a lot of people doubted me. Not everybody supported me, like, you know,
right,
our local friends and family.
Right,
a lot of people wanted to see that fall. So,
of course,
you know, it kind of, it all started with a message on Facebook and, you know, a tall, skinny kid who really just loved basketball and worked his ass off.
It took
you know?
you far,
so
yeah,
it took me far, man.
So, and there's so much, bro. You moved, what age?
I was 21, guys. So when I signed my first contract, this was at the end of my junior year at U of M Dearborn. So I played my first 2 years at Eastern. I wanted to play in front of my family because I knew my plan was to ultimately go to Lebanon and play. So I transferred back to my hometown. We had a great year that year. We broke U of M Dearborn's season record for wins. And
I remember that we used to go.
Yeah, I had a great time there playing in front of my mom. Everybody knows how big of a supporter my mom was in my basketball career. So like I transferred to U of M for some family and friends reasons. And then at the end of that season, I'll never forget, I was at the U of M Dearborn Fieldhouse, normal day at practice, you know, shirt off, towel on, like getting ready to hit the locker room and stuff. And my agent calls me, and he's like, hey, I have an offer for you.
Yeah.
Bro, I was dumbfounded, man. I had class tomorrow at 9 a.m. Like, what do you mean you have an offer for me? Like, what kind of offer? And, we crunched some numbers. I talked to a few teams, and
it's worth it.
A couple months later, man, I'm 21 years old, and
you're in Lebanon.
I'm in Lebanon, man.
Where'd you live? Where'd you live in Lebanon?
So in my career, guys, I did not leave a single area in Lebanon that I didn't live in, right? So my family's from the south, right? And Lebanon's kind of shaped like a banana, guys. So if over here is the south, that's where my family's house was. That's where I'd spend my days off with like my aunts and uncles and cousins that I still have there.
Yeah.
My first team was in Kaslik, which is like Junia, North Lebanon.
Oh yeah.
I played there for 2 years, right? Okay. So I'm from the south. I went there and lived in the north for 2 years.
Yep.
My third year, I go east over the mountains, past the Baalbek into Zahle and Firzul, which is like 12 inches of snow in the mountains, no plows. Sun is down at 2 o'clock. There's like one restaurant open, probably the scariest shit I've ever done in my life.
Okay.
Right? And then the next 2 years after that, well, minus the revolution that happened in 2019, right?
Right.
The next 2 years after that, I played for 2 different teams. One was Riyadi Beirut, which I lived in Beirut.
Mm-hmm.
Primetime Lebanon, guys, like on the water. I'd walk out of practice and go straight to the water, right? And another year, when I first took my wife there, our first season, I was with Homendman, which was stationed in Beirut, but they're an Armenian team based in Lebanon. So talk about a mix of culture, right? I'm already, I'm Lebanese. I got there, and these guys were, kind of dizzy that I was able to read, write, speak Arabic.
Yeah,
like I got this slang. We're Lebanese, you know what I mean? But now I'm playing with a Lebanese team inside of an Armenian club in a new area, which, by the way, Armenian people are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Great people. Very welcoming. Like, I felt so comfortable and so fun that year, and I had ups and downs there. I met a lot of people that were good, some were bad, right? But, every year I basically lived in a different way, and I laugh now. I'm like, my dad's goal when we were growing up, he always used to take us there every summer, and it was to get to know the country, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go. We just got out of school. I want to spend summer with my friends, right?
Yeah.
Now I laugh. I'm like, now I'm 27 years old. If you just drop me at the airport and give me my car, I can get anywhere in the entire country.
Right.
Which is pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what was, now the decision to stop basketball and come back. Go ahead, drink your water, bro. I know you've been thirsty. You've been talking a lot.
I didn't even go.
I have a lot to say, man. I love this stuff.
You moved to Lebanon with your wife.
So I went there in the beginning on my own, right? Obviously, me and my wife were dating. I started talking to my wife when I was just graduated from senior year. It was that summer of 13 when we started, when we just got out of school, whatever. And me and her were great friends. Essentially, we've been together forever. If you guys haven't told from what I'm talking about, over 9-10 years ago, right? Yeah. So for the first 3 years, I was by myself out there. I went out there for 2 years, right? I saved all my money because, I didn't want to do the typical get married off my dad's back. I didn't feel like a man doing that. And no problem if you do that at all. I'm not hating. I just, as a man, wasn't me. I wanted to do it myself, right? So I went out there. I saved my money. I did my thing. My third year going back out there, I got engaged that summer. Next year came back, got married. Kale threw me in the air 40 feet at my wedding. And then that was the first year that I took my wife back. And
so how the hell was that conversation? I want to get your response because you guys are both married,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
How the hell do you have that conversation? Sit down to your wife and be like, "Hey,
honestly, bro, my wife's a ride or die. You know, from the very first day that we started talking, I told her this is my goal. This is what 100%. I'm here to do. It wasn't like a get with or to get lost type of thing at all. It was hey, would you be on board with this?
Yeah.
And she told me I'm with you through whatever.
Yeah, and I have the same exact response. Obviously, when you first meet somebody, they know what your goals are. And by choosing to be with you, they accept those. You're telling them, hey, here's what to expect. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. If you're down with it, then let's do this. If you're not, then, we got to talk about
Where's the fine line? With his situation, could you imagine, I don't know if fudge it. Did the in-laws giving you issues?
No, because I had a solid plan in place. I went to my wife's house for the first time with my parents, formally, at a really young age, and I was very honest, and my dad obviously had my back and said, I'm supporting my son pursuing this, so don't worry, he's in good hands. My dad had met with a lot of the coaches that were recruiting me. He was heavily a part of my recruitment process. So it's not like I was just some American Lebanese kid getting sent to the jungle too. My dad also made sure that I was in a good spot before I went. So he knew I was going to be making money. He knew I was starting.
I'm talking about your in-law. Did your in-laws have any issues with you taking their daughter across the country?
Right. No parents are going to be happy about it. Right?
Yeah.
But it's something adventurous. It's something cool. I mean, every how often does something like this pop up?
100%.
Right? So, you know, as long as, you know, they knew I was a good guy and they trusted within me and my family. My wife also has family there, too. All of, you know, her dad's sisters are there. She has first cousins there. She has an uncle there. Like, she got to also learn a lot about that side of the country as well.
Of course.
So, you know, it was tough, man. You know, it's not easy, like, leaving friends, leaving family, and, you know, talking to her dad and her mom and, like, hey, guys, you got to trust me on this one. I promise. I know it sounds weird because you guys have never seen anybody do something like this, but I got a plan in place, and I think it's really going to work. And alhamdulillah, I mean, the results showed, you know?
Yeah, so, you know, since we're on the topic of leaving, in your head at some point you knew you were going to come back here, raise a family, do your own thing. I'm guessing, correct?
Yeah, of course.
And how hard was that decision? Like, you know, as you know, as every season passed, you know, I'm getting closer to just coming back home, settling down, and doing my own thing. And when you finally hit that last season, I mean, did you know it was going to be your last season?
No, I mean, till now, to be honest with you, I don't know if I'm done.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big conversation me and my wife are having right now because, you know, in 2019, when me and my wife went there, quick story, we're in the middle of the season. We're probably 8 or 9 games into the season. I'm playing my best season. We're on a great team. It's just everything is picture perfect. At 6 a.m., my wife's shaking me, telling me, you know, Ali, wake up. There's something going on outside. And I'm throwing my pillows at her.
All else is there. No,
it's Lebanon. Like, you know, of course there's something
Everything's always going on outside.
There's always chaos, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But she said, no, just come look. And I'm like, okay. I get up out of bed. I look out my window, and, guys, my heart sank immediately because I look outside. There's probably 250 rubber tires in the middle of the highway.
Yeah.
And there's people pouring gasoline on them and lighting them on fire right under my house, shutting down the roads. It was the protest and revolution that was happening.
Right.
So, got to witness, you know, a 3 million man and woman protest in the middle of downtown Beirut. The fighting, the closing off of the roads, the burning places. I mean, I immediately, when I seen that, got this weird gut feeling. I'm like, I don't know how long I can do this anymore, right?
Yeah.
It's
just not about you anymore.
It was
That's
just
what
about
it
the
is.
stability, about, you know, I can take a chance at myself. I don't care about my safety, right? I can always look out myself, but if I have my wife, someone's daughter, someone's sister here with me, that's not a risk I want to take, you know?
Yeah, and it's honestly, I think, Kel, one day, I mean, inshallah, you know, you're going to understand. The second you're married, it's not about you anymore.
Zero.
It's not, I mean, yeah, you still have to consider yourself, but like you immediately have to start considering others.
Right.
And it affects everything you want to do, even things that you want to do, but you know you can't.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of moves you wanted to make, but, you know, in consideration of somebody else, you can't do it.
No, we always talk about that. Like, all the guys are getting married, and, like, every time we invite them, like, you have to invite their wives. Like, you can't just leave another person at home.
Well, listen, it's good to have a balance, right? If there's any advice, I'm sure you know this too. Really, like, you have to have balance.
100%.
You can't just be like, oh, no, I'm married now. I can't. Like, no, I have a good balance of hanging out with my friends.
You
My wife
need
hanging out
it.
with her
It's a
friends.
required, man.
We have our time together,
it.
our family time. Like, it has to be, or else you guys will drive each other crazy.
100%.
You know?
I couldn't agree more on that. I remember, like, when I was hanging out with these guys after I got married, they were like, bro.
How are you?
I remember Thurg was telling me, he's like, how are you married? Like, how are you out with your friends? I'm like, dude, like, do you know how required this is?
It's not like that.
You would literally kill yourself if you had to sit with your wife every single day, all day. It won't work. I'm not saying that as, like, you know, as like a shot at my wife. I'm just saying it as, bro, you need something outside of, like, your marriage.
Absolutely.
You need your friends. You know, you need, like, a stress-free environment where you can just do your own thing with your boys. It's a different relationship.
Right.
Your wife is your best friend, but she's not your boys. It's just a different thing.
It's a whole different environment.
It's a whole different thing. Yeah.
No, obviously, yeah. You gotta have compromise with it. If someone, usually I see when I meet people that get married, they off the map for like 6 months to a couple of years. I'm like, why are they doing that?
You don't got to do that.
No, it's not necessary.
Have
yeah.
hobbies. Live
you
your
need,
life
and
still,
it's actually a lot more harder if you're off the map for you to come back and hang out with your friends because now you guys are so used to being with each other for so long. So now the second you want to go leave, it becomes a problem. But off the rip, if you're just doing your own thing with your friends and you're balancing it, it always works.
Yeah, but there's always the boys group chat, and you always get torched if you don't see them at least once.
Oh, 100%.
It's gonna happen regardless. I've been torched many times.
It's gonna happen. You get torched by your wife when you're chilling with your friends all the time. It's the same shit.
You'll get beat up both sides. So
imagine if you're planning to go chill with your boys, like you tell it three weeks in advance, and the second you leave the house, you get torched.
Man. Yeah, it happens. It's like that. But I mean, it's a balance, bro. I mean, you sign up for it, and it is what it is, you know? At some point, you know, once you're hanging out with all your friends, you're going to say, bro, like, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't want to just go home and sit alone, you know? So
I mean, a lot of my friends knew my wife, too, before I got married to her, right? So it was like, you know, my friends were more than welcome to always come to my house, you know? Like, Kel, how many times have you popped up randomly in the house and me and you and Reem end up chilling? Like, you know, like just
very
talking
normal.
life. Yep. Like, you know, that's how you want it to be. You don't want it to be like the seclusion of, like, married. I can't.
I always preach that. Like, it's always cool to be a good like friend level with your boys' wives.
100%.
Yeah, it's like it's not if you're that close with your friend, you should have a good relationship with your wife. And I know people that
they completely separate it.
Don't look at my wife.
Everyone's got their preference.
Exactly, I agree. I agree.
Their preference, you know.
It's all preference, but like it's more like to me, like it's nice to like sit down or like get to chill with them and stuff like that.
I mean, I just look at it like not even just right now, like in 20 years, right? We're sitting here, inshallah, all of us have kids, have wives, family, all that stuff. Like, it would be nice to look back and be like, hey, remember this 20 years ago? Like, that's how long we've all been close. Like, telling our kids stories. Like, it's, I don't know. I like those relationships. I like having, you know.
Something very open, very welcoming.
I like something having open and welcoming. Like, you know, we're a lot different than our parents, guys. We were born here for the most part. We're first generation for the most part. Back then, it's like culture. Like, you know, you sit on this side, we sit on this side. Like, now it's like.
More like, I think it's more westernized.
Way more westernized, you know, and it's not on purpose. It's just naturally happens over the course of time, right? Like,
I think if the intentions are pure with everyone there, I don't see a problem with it.
Doesn't matter what language you're speaking. If your intentions are pure, you're around good people. Like, what's their, like, I don't, you know what I mean? So I'm not like that, but like I said, everyone has their preference.
I'm not mad at anyone that does that. I'm just saying.
Are you sure? You saw, did somebody do you dirty with something?
No, bro, no, I understand completely because I have so, like, the guys, everyone has their own different preferences. You can't. This is what it is.
100%. No,
you can't force anything.
No, absolutely not.
No, yeah. But, all right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. And we're back.
All right, so I'm really curious, bro. So you have this crazy, insane life as a professional basketball player, right? And then you come back and you do mortgage. Now I'm guessing you're a mortgage banker now?
I'm a broker.
You're a broker.
I'm sorry. I have a brokerage.
All right.
30, I'll say 85% of Dearborn went to Quicken Loans.
Right.
Yeah, you went to Quicken Loans, right?
Yeah, so after that stuff happened in 2019 with me and my wife, you know, obviously I had to, you know, make a choice. Am I going back for my senior year of, you know, school, or am I, you know, finding something that's going to make me money now? And
so you don't get bored of it, man?
No, like, honestly, I love it.
No, I'm not saying like that. I'm saying like, okay, like you just have like this crazy life as a professional basketball player. You know, you're like this guy, I mean, you're literally sleeping. There's a war like right under your house, right? Like that's the kind of action you're seeing, and then you come back to a desk job.
It's different. It's different, right? But like, as a man, you got to do what you got to do, right? 100%. Like, was I the happiest guy in the world? That I'm like, you know, now I have to go from living this crazy life where I'm traveling the world, making money, doing what I love, to working 89 hours a week on the phone and at a desk job. No, but like I said, you know, I had to do what I had to do, and I kind of got into it before it got popular, not on purpose, right? This happened in 2019 before COVID, before the market dropped, before all this good stuff, and I had family and friends who worked there, and I'm so glad you brought this up, Cal, because I seen your brother
he still works
the other
there.
day, right? And I want to say something about Quicken Loans.
Yeah,
because even though I'm a broker owner now, I work separately from them. I do my own thing. I got nothing but love for that place, right? And I feel like there's this stigma around the city of Dearborn where it's like, oh, he went to Quicken or she went to Quicken, like as if it's a bad thing, right? Because more than one person did it. Like, no one's allowed to do the same thing.
Well, no, actually, you know? honestly, the stigma I hear is when someone say, oh, they went to Quicken, like the stigma is, oh, this guy's a scrub. Couldn't make it anywhere else. They went to Quicken.
Scrub making six figures.
Right. Scrub making six figures.
Right. That's what they say. Listen, that's really unfortunate. That's the stigma.
You have to be educated to pass that exam. It's not an easy exam to pass. One. Two, I just look at it like if the headquarters of Quicken Loans and Rocket Mortgage was in another state outside of, you know, Michigan, how many people would flock to this corporate job where you can get paid greatly, get full benefits, carry a license that'll last you forever, and basically provide great for your family as long as you're there and willing to work? I mean, I think if you dropped, you know, this in Florida, nobody in Florida is going to be like, oh.
It's Dearborn.
It's Dearborn. Like, why, guys? Like, we should encourage each other to do things like this. Take advantage of these opportunities, right?
This is the Dearborn effect.
The stigma came from people that went to school for 4 years, got a degree, and they're making example anywhere from 80 to 100, whatever, and then they see this guy that they used to make fun of or something, go to Quicken, make 150 to 250,000 working at Quicken, and they get salty.
No, even
that's exactly where it's from.
What?
Even better than that. No, it's not even the college shit. It's like,
I think it's the college people.
No, I think it's like, take it a step back. It's the people that went from me, like at least my generation, the stigma came from the people that didn't go to college after high school. They went straight to Quicken. Like, oh, this guy didn't even go to college. He went to because he couldn't make.
Look at the stigma has different stigmas based on generations. That's how long it's been going on. You know, but I'm more of the opposite side. Like, look how long Rocket Mortgage and the family of companies has provided all this stuff.
Bro, I'm all for like, dude, like, at the end of the day, you're holding it down. You're making your money. You're doing good for yourself. Who gives a fuck?
Well, school's not for everybody, guys.
100%. And I was fighting with my mom about this for years. like my little brother, I've mentioned this before, and I'll keep mentioning it because it's a load of shit. With, you know, because like you said before, our parents they came up different than we did. My brother has always been wanting to be a contractor. He loves construction.
Right.
My mom was always, nope, you're not doing it. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. You're going to go to school. You're going to get a degree. My brother's about to graduate as an engineer.
Right.
And he already signed up for a trade school. The second I walk,
He still wants to be a contractor.
I'm going to trade school.
Right.
I'm going to be I don't want to be an engineer. Like,
Right.
fuck that.
Right.
Like, no one, bro, a lot of people don't like school.
Listen, and it's not just about whether you like it or not. Like, I liked school. I was a finance major, right? I needed 10 classes, guys, and I graduated with my business finance degree, right? But then you kind of look at, like, well, where am I going to start and where am I going to peak?
Right.
And do I want to work this 9 to 5 forever?
100%.
You know, and
100%.
you start some corporate jobs, you start anywhere from 40 to 60, maybe 70 if you're, you know, great at what you do and you got a great internship, behind your resume. But my point is, I jumped right into basketball and made way more than what I was going to be making with my business degree. I jumped right into mortgages. I'm making way more than what I would be doing with my education and my degree.
100%.
Like,
100%.
So when I say it's not for everybody, it's not just that. It's like, you know, in my opinion, I could be very wrong, right? It's just my opinion. If you're not studying law, if you're not in somewhere in the medical field, if you're not doing something in engineering where maybe there's a postgraduate program after that.
Right.
Like, there's so many other opportunities, like independent contracting, mortgages, real estate,
100%.
electricians, like so many trades where you can make more money, especially nowadays. Like, do you guys feel like we live in a weird time?
What do you mean? In terms of like...
In terms of, like, I feel like maybe 15 years ago, it was all figured out for us. Like, you just go to school.
Right.
You get a bachelor's degree.
I see what you're saying. Like,
And
now
then
it's
your life
like,
will be figured out.
now
Now
it's like you can do what the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
you could run a successful podcast, and if you get enough streaming on this stuff, this could
It could be
provide
your
you more
career.
income than
Right.
anything.
I know a
100%.
guy that I think it was Amino's friend. He made like 60,000 last year off garage sale flipping and shit.
Bro, how much money are kids making
ridiculous.
on video games?
Bro,
yeah.
I know,
I'm not saying
man.
I'm going to guide my son to be a gamer, but I'm just saying, like, there's so many multiple
Right,
outlets
right.
of income. You know?
Like, I think just like... I think the main point and what I don't know if it's like a Dearborn thing. Maybe it is. Like, the thing we have to get off of is that school is everything. That, like, oh, if you don't go to school, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a loser.
Right.
Like, bro...
I think that's
Some people just don't like school. Like, straight up, man. Like,
and school's expensive.
Right.
So if you're taking out loans and you're
Right.
starting making 50, 60 grand a year,
right.
you know, you're obviously going to try to get married or try to move out and buy a home,
100%,
try to do
man.
things like, where's that point where you're paying that student loan off? Or where's
100%.
that point where even if you
Right.
paid for your, you know, tuition, when are you getting that return on
Right,
investment? You know?
right. We need to get away from the
It's-
idea that like school is like, you know, that's the only way out.
I think the parents are pushing school because they want to. This is what I think. I think most of these people, like, they're so scared of people like looking at them that, oh, they couldn't go to school, they want their kids to be like the golden standard.
Ibn
And
4.0.
yeah,
my son, my daughter,
exactly.
4.0.
Everyone has
I
that
get
aunt that just
you
sits
know?
there. I understand that, but I think that's the reason why. Oh, I raised two doctors
Two
and a
doctors
pharmacist and a
and-
lawyer. And then that's what I think that's heavily into the Dearborn and the auto community.
Cal,
Heavy.
also with everything we're saying, as much as I'm saying school's not for everybody, it's not like school is bad. Right?
It's not.
Obviously, it's
It's
great.
not.
Like the biggest thing that school presents is security.
Right,
And I think
right.
that's what our parents are after so much, just to
100%.
see that you never worry. Like when you work a commission job or a trade job, it's all about you and your craft.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
are you earning clients? How are you getting people?
Right.
There's no guarantee to
Right.
what
You
you know,
also-
someone like me does. There's
Right,
no guarantee.
exactly.
Right?
Just
There's
the only thing I want to emphasize is that school isn't the only answer.
Oh, of course not.
And we need to get away from that as a stigma. Like, hey, like either you're going to school or like you're just a loser.
Right.
And that's the problem. That's really I think that's a major issue because I still sit around, you know, those dinner parties, those you know, those get together. They say, oh, this guy didn't go to school. Like, oh, I wonder what he's gonna do. Oh, I feel so bad for his parents. Like, come on,
Today's
man.
day is so different. You can make
different.
so much money.
Yeah.
So
bro,
different.
Contract, bro. Dearborn right now. I don't know if it's anything. Dearborn right now. If you're a decent contractor, you're slammed.
Slammed.
Everyone and their mother is getting married and remodeling their houses, and they're charging so much. And how are you, like? There's so much opportunities.
Enrollment in community colleges in the 80s and 90s were at an all-time low because everybody was leaving school,
Trades.
high school, and they're going straight to Ford
And
because
Ford,
it
yep,
provided
yep,
a
yep.
better living.
The big three.
It provided a better living for you than school. Financially, economically, even your lifestyle was just better.
Yeah.
You know, then all of a sudden, everyone wrapped their head around the idea that school is the only way. I'm not saying school is bad. Again, I agree with you, but I'm saying that people have to get off the idea that it's the only way. It's not.
At all.
It's not. No. It's like remotely. Like sometimes, like honestly, like if that's what you have in your head, it's just. I feel like it's the wrong mindset.
Yeah, you got to broaden your
You know what I'm
horizon.
saying?
Step
funny
out of your
'cause-
comfort zone and what you see and like out of what your parents tell you. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, I listen to everything my parents tell me or someone older. Like, you know, we show our respect to our elders, but at some point you're a grown man or a grown woman. you got to make your own choices. You know what's best for your life.
Right.
You know what
Right.
you're trying to do forever.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
I'm the person that's like, you know, I definitely want to live comfortable. I want to work a job that earns good money so I can supply good for my family.
Right.
But I also want to do something I love, something I have passion for.
Right,
You know?
right.
So once you find that one thing that you're passionate about,
It doesn't matter where you got
it
it
doesn't
from.
matter. I answer my
Right.
phone sometimes at 8, 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday night,
Yeah,
which I don't want to do, but I got passion for what I do, so I do it. So
100%. I asked this
know?
guy how many times I've done jail visits at like 2, 3 a.m.,
Yeah,
bro.
100%.
It's like, it is what it is,
crazy.
you know?
No, there's there's a lot of desk people that can't do trades jobs. And
How
a
many
lot of
times
people in trade
have you ever had to bail Cal out?
Oh, none. But it's coming. That day's coming. It's
coming
coming.
soon.
I built Farhat out a little.
It's coming.
This guy was sending me pictures of his cat freezing. But no, a lot. Like I said, it's every parent wants their kid to make. I think it's
No,
You
every parent wants their kid to be successful.
Right.
Yeah.
The only confusion is a
Or
lot of
accept
parents
it.
believe that the only way to do that is by going to
Yes,
school.
it's what's that definition of success?
Right,
You know?
right.
So,
like
Right.
Harajli is like definition that success to him
Yeah.
is religious sovereignty. Like for him, like a happy, sane, religious man. He
Yeah.
doesn't care what people do. If
Right.
their dean is there and they worship, and to him, they're successful in his
100%.
eyes.
Everything else can get figured out.
I agree with him.
100%.
You know, I agree with him. And like, listen, guys, I feel like that's a topic that's so like, it's become so taboo in our community.
Yeah.
Talking about prayer, talking about what's halal, what's haram, just having that conversation about God, about what we're supposed to do, about what faith is, about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. You know, and I'm not perfect by any means.
Yeah.
I'm no prophet, but I've gotten really close to God in the last. It's been a long time. You know,
Yeah,
I've always
yeah.
had God was instilled in my family, and you know, Islam and all that stuff, but. Guys like Harajli, shout out to Ahmed Harajli.
Yeah.
I love him. He's honest. He says the stuff that not many people want to talk about.
100%.
You should see sometimes I'm at like, you know, a basketball run or a sahara with friends, and like I bring up that conversation like of prayer or like of fasting or like of giving to the poor, just because I want to see people's reactions, and I see so many people get
They just want to
so
shut it down.
awkward, like
It's
what,
so touchy
like
to
oh
some
my
people.
God, this guy wants to talk about that right now, and I'm like, bro, why is that so bad?
Yeah.
Why
right,
is it bad
right.
to have faith nowadays?
Well, I mean,
You know?
let's put that with any conversation. I mean, any of these touchy conversations nobody wants to have anymore. These are the important conversations.
Because I think people
know?
instantly feel guilty. Because Islam is installed into the DR1 community, majority of it, right? I would say like 85% of the people are born up Muslim through Islam in the community, right? And when they feel like if someone brings up Islam and they haven't prayed in a while, or they want to instantly shove it to the side because they haven't been keeping up with God the way they
Right.
wish they have, or
Right.
they just don't care.
Right.
And some people are like, you know, I think that's an issue too. Like, they
Right,
just
but
don't
I
wanna
mean,
talk about it.
it may be because of misconcept of how they were taught the religion, because I think, you know, Islam is one of those religions where it works in an unorthodox way, where when you're scared of God and you feel like you've done something wrong,
You're going to all of a sudden.
you're going to get closer to him.
Right.
You're not going to revert far back. I mean, obviously every situation is different, but my understanding is like if I do something wrong, the way that I learned Islam is like God is the most
Merciful, the most forgiving,
merciful,
yup.
the most forgiving, you know? So why would I be scared to go back no matter how many wrongs I've done in my life?
Yeah.
I have no problem getting on my hands and knees and praying to God and asking for forgiveness, you know? And they say there's more reward in that.
Of
Right?
course.
Right.
So, you know, my recommendation would be, you know, if you do feel like that, if you do feel like some type of way, like about where you're at religiously or faith-wise, like have the conversation, you know, seek knowledge.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's unfortunate because it's all these topics that need to be addressed that no one's addressing, you know, whether it comes to drug addiction.
Right.
You know, even honestly, even when you get it, especially in this community when it comes to gay rights and abortion. I mean, these are just topics people just don't want to stay, they just stay away from it. They don't want to have it because they're scared of what people are going to say about them. They're going to get canceled. They're going to be, you know, based on their opinions.
That's why we bring on Harajli.
I mean,
But no, I think some people with faith, they need that little push. I say there's two things, right? Some people just need a little push, or unfortunately, when a tragic happens to certain people, they sink or they float, right? And then
Right.
if they sink, in my opinion, they go towards the route of like addiction or drugs or alcohol. And then when they float, in my opinion, I think they go closer
Towards
to God.
God. Yeah.
And that's that little push.
yeah,
Do you guys agree that everything in this life is a test?
Of course.
yeah,
Right. So it reminds me of that story about the two young kids, right, where their father was an alcoholic.
Alcoholic, yeah.
One of them's an alcoholic. One of them doesn't drink. And when
Mm-hmm.
they get asked that same question, you know, like, why are you this? One of them says, you know, my dad drank, so that's why I drink. Another one says, well, my dad was a heavy alcoholic. That's why I don't drink. So
Right.
it's all about perspective, right? I
Right,
just
right.
encourage anybody who is going through something, who has questions, to seek out, you know, to reach out and ask, right? It doesn't hurt to ask
And
and have the convo.
Some people, and then you go to the opposite. Like, let's bring up the other side. The people don't like religion is because it's like a judgmental. You know what I always say? Let's take this back a little bit, a step back. People, okay, so I don't think Islam is the problem. I think people are the problem
Yeah,
that follow
100%.
Islam, right? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, then you got obviously the liberal ideology right now of like, oh, they don't accept everyone or they don't accept this. That's why they don't like it. And then they're just getting bigger. And that there's like so much aspects on why in Dearborn it's getting shunned away. Like, oh, you're that's what, like, yeah.
No, I mean, I get where you're coming from because people have certain views on certain things, and Islam doesn't tie into that, so they're gonna push Islam away. And then
Exactly.
And then you have other people that they just commit so much haram, and when you try to bring up religion to them, like they're so far gone at this
Yeah,
point,
that's
they don't
right,
want to
yeah.
bring it up.
Yeah,
They're just so ashamed, and like you're automatically, if you just bring up the conversation, you're all of a sudden like you're the ultimate judge when that's not even the case.
Yeah, you don't have to be judging people. I mean, that's what I think the biggest misconception is, having the conversation about something, whether it's right or wrong. People are automatically like, you're pointing the finger at me, and I'm like,
Right.
if you feel like that, you must be doing something wrong. If you don't even want to have a conversation about it, if you feel like it's right and it's normal, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think in our religion, there's 5 pillars. You know, it's pretty black and white for the most part.
Yeah.
And I would say the gray areas, like, oh, what do you think about this or what do you think about that? Every human has a conscience and a gut feeling. I think our religion is mostly judged on your intention, on whether you intended to do something bad,
Right.
or you just didn't know when you did it. I mean, there's no way for us to tell how God judges.
100%.
But He gave us a blueprint. You know, He gave us the Quran. He gave us people with, you know, higher education levels than us. Ask and find out. You
I
know?
always say, like, bro, at the end of the day, all the religion is, no matter what religion it is, like the main 3, it's just a moral guideline. It's a moral guidance for anyone, and no matter what religion you follow, there's no religion that promotes bad things.
100%.
A good Christian, a good Jew, and a good Muslim. They're very similar.
They're all very similar.
They're all
Yeah.
similar in a way, and if you follow it to a T, like if you follow it, they're all good people.
The differences that I see in the top 3 religions, you know, whether it be Islam,
the big 3,
the big,
Big
three,
three.
Judaism, Christianity, you know, and Islam is like, I feel like the minor differences came like just through time. People, you know, they
Culture.
put their
Minor
they put their
differences are in the
opinions.
culture.
They
Yeah,
put
yeah.
their opinions into it. You
Right,
know, I think you
right.
know they're all clear cut books. You know, whether
Yeah.
it's the Quran, the Torah, or the Bible, they're pretty clear cut books. I think it's all words of God. Like Cal was saying, like, okay, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't backstab. Like, we don't need a book for someone to tell us that we should know that stuff on our own.
Right.
You know, so in my eyes, when people say like, "Oh, are you a good Muslim?" It doesn't always have to be like, "I'm buried in a book reading," or "I've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars," or "Wallah, I pray. Wallah, my knees are hurting me," or I have a mark on my head from the other." Like, no, that's not it. That's not always it.
On your
you
funny
know?
story
being
is-
a good person and being a good neighbor is more important
Yeah,
than all that
I agree.
stuff. You know,
I agree.
There's a funny story. One time I was at work, and I'm doing my own thing in the basement. She comes down, and I think I had my headphones in. I'm working on the equipment, and then all I hear is, "What are you?" I swear to God. This is that one rich old white lady that like lives. She lives on the lake. This is in West Bloomfield. Her husband's never home, and she's just bored.
Sounds like you're trying to get into a different kind of story right now. Her husband's never home.
What are you?
She got like, I'm like, "What are we?" I looked at her, I'm like,
Are you sure you were working there, bro? What were you doing there?
Right.
I was like, "What do you do?" She's like, "What are you?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Are you a Muslim?" Because she said my name. I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, everything you believe in is wrong." I literally put my headphones back in and I kept working. I ignored her. I'm like, "What do you want me to?" I'm like, "Listen, man, what do you?"
Everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's so funny though.
I mean, something I love though, guys, like, because when I moved to Lebanon to
Yeah.
play, I was in a predominant Christian area for
Yeah.
2 straight
Lebanon
years.
is predominantly Christian.
Like, I was probably
Yeah, and the north,
Lebanon
yeah,
in
the
general,
north, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
the north is
Like,
majority Christian. Yep.
I was probably the only Ali within like a 50-mile radius.
Yeah.
Just, you know, so like, and I was welcomed with open arms.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and I seen a whole different side of that religion that, you know, I didn't see here even growing up in America. You know, I went to a lot of the monumental sites, like where my village is in the south. There's a cave and monument dedicated to when
I know what you're talking
Jesus
about.
and the
Yep,
Virgin
yep,
Mary
yep, yep.
passed through and stayed in that cave.
Yeah.
Like, I would go sit there and I would pray there sometimes, and I would do stuff like that. I went up to the Harisa, the Lady of Lebanon,
Yeah,
big
yeah.
statue of the Virgin Mary. I went to Mar Sharbil. It's one of their saints' monuments over there. Like, I went and learned and educated myself as well, because I'm like, if I'm going to speak on some of these topics and be meeting with different people around the world, and, you know, I have to be diverse. I have to open up my brain to learn some things that I didn't know before, you know? So that's how my parents raised me. You know, like, my dad's read the Bible several times to understand.
You're supposed to.
You know, like, but I feel like nowadays people want to jump to understand other religions before they even understood their own.
Yeah.
So, like, but before I did all this, I also upped my level of knowledge about what I like and what I worship and what I feel is correct before I went and learned someone else's religion.
100%.
Right? So
whatever works for them. Like to me, I feel like sane when I anything with religion.
Yeah.
To me, that calms me down. I felt like it's a path for me. Some people, it's like it just doesn't click for them, bro. What do you want me to tell them? Like,
yeah.
Do you remember that night that me and you
I remember. I was
prayed,
just about
bro?
to bring that up. Yeah.
Me and Cal, how old were we, bro?
That was a while ago.
Bro,
I think I was fresh out of high school, barely.
Fresh out of high school, like maybe freshman year of college, like 18 or 19.
What did we-
Barely.
We did the 100.
It was Laylatul Qadr, and we did the 100 prayers of like the Sabah, the Dhuhr, the Asr, the Maghrib, the Asha. And Cal, at this time, wasn't the best at speaking Arabic.
No, yeah.
Didn't have the whole format down, and wallah, we went through, bro. It took us all night.
Yeah, I remember after we went back
know?
to my house and we chilled.
We still continued it even at your house.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
still
Yeah,
knocking
yeah,
them
yeah,
out.
yep,
You know,
yep.
just dedication to learning. You know, like I'm not saying that's gonna get us to heaven. Lord
Well, I
knows
mean-
all of us need it. You know,
You're doing your part.
we're trying.
Yeah,
We're trying.
yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
it's instilling those things that our parents taught us. You know, not just for us. Is like, you know, I have a kid now. You have a kid now. Like,
Right.
you know, if we're first generation and we speak perfect English and we like doing, you know, westernized things like podcasts. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we like doing, you know, what we do. Who's going to teach our kids?
100%.
You know?
100%.
So, and
That's
that's
why I
my
said-
biggest thing, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I just want to teach my kid, you know?
You guys both have kids, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your kid's name?
Ali Jr.
Ali Junior. Did you get
Ali
any
Junior.
shit, bro? Because I know the Arab don't really do juniors. What you gotta?
No, it's becoming more normalized now.
I know,
See a
but like
lot of
the
juniors.
culture
People,
does
like,
not normally do it juniors.
Bro, like when I was in Lebanon last summer, playing, like telling people, they're like, oh, what are you going to name your son? Like, Shah Sammi Ibnak. I'm like, Ali. They're like,
instantly they're like, no.
what do you mean? I'm like, I'm Ali Farhat. I'm going to have Ali Farhat Jr. My son, inshallah, will have Ali Farhat III. And,
Yeah.
you know, I would like to start a different trend in,
What if
you
he
know,
looks
in
at
my
you and says, I don't
family.
want that name?
I'll cuff him twice. So, you know, yeah, I did. I got a lot of shit for it. You know, at the end of the day, it's my kid, so I don't really care, right? If I wanted to name my son, you know,
Garth.
the table. I want to call my son table. Like, I don't care. It's my
Table
kid.
Farhat, what up?
I'm calling him what I want to, right?
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to do something different. And my parents thought it was cool. My in-laws thought it was cool. Me and my wife loved the idea. You know,
It's definitely the
I
first
told my
I've heard.
wife, I'm like, listen, if you like hate me 10 years down the line, it doesn't matter. You're always going to have to say Ali Farhat for the rest of your life. So you have no choice but to like me.
There you
know?
go.
She's
There you
stuck
go.
with
You're
me,
definitely
you know?
the first person I met that did it.
I have Wasim did it too.
Did he?
Wasim Atwa, yeah, he named Wasim Jr.
Yeah, it's normalized in like here, but not really in other cultures. Like
I mean, for what reason? Why? Like, what's
I don't know the
biggest
reason.
deal, you know?
No, I think Haraji did tell me this. I swear to God, he's like because the way in our culture, you
You're supposed to name after the father.
No, not
Quote
even
unquote.
that.
That's what
it's
the,
the
yeah.
how
middle,
to
it's the
pinpoint
middle name.
each person.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the way your documents are set up in your family
Yeah.
tree in Lebanon. So like my name is Ali Salim Farhat, right? So when I'm in Lebanon, when like I'm at the airport, they refer to me as Ali Salim, like
Yeah,
I'm Ali, the
exactly.
son of
Yeah,
Salim,
yeah.
right? So if my son's name also was
Ali
Ali
Farhat,
Salim Farhat, they're gonna be like, what is this? And it's sad to say that something that small would confuse them.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it is what it is,
Right.
right? So my son's middle name is Adin. It's spelled as Aiden, Aidan. So it's
Really?
just Ali Adin Farhat.
That's your middle
Jr.
name?
Not my
I mean,
middle
middle
name.
name,
My
yeah.
son's middle
Your
name.
son's
Because I
middle
called
name.
my dad. I'm like, hey, Dad, you know, your grandson's name is gonna be Ali Salim, and he's like, no. And I'm like, I paused, bro. What do you mean? I have to fill out this paperwork. I'm at the hospital. My wife just delivered. Like, he's like, no, trust me. They're gonna give you some type of issues when it comes to getting his passport, getting his Lebanese
Yeah,
citizenship.
Social Security and everything.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
So
Because it's the same person.
it's basically the same
Yeah.
person, you
Yeah.
know. So I came up with my own name. You know, I had a dream before my wife was even pregnant that I had a baby boy and his name was Adin, which is the call for prayer in Arabic. So like, how could I incorporate that? And like,
Yeah.
Aiden.
Aiden,
Aiden.
perfect,
Made
you
it
know?
work.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna name my son Aiden because. I'm not gonna name my son Aiden,
I hear you.
right? I'm a culture guy. I'm a religious
yeah.
guy. I like these things. Like, I have
Yeah.
pride in naming like our names. You know what
I'm
I
with
mean?
you.
So-
I promise you, I completely
Like,
agree.
I will never
I'm
call
not
my
a fan
son-
of naming somebody
I
like
hate it
just
when I tell someone-
a very westernized name. I'm not a fan of it.
So maybe I'm different. I wouldn't mind
No,
as much
I'm
if
on
my
the same
daughter
boat.
was.
No,
I don't know.
no. I'm on the same boat. Like,
You know?
My wife and I, we argued about that. And like Jenna was the one that we met on the middle line.
Right.
Like,
But Jannah's a beautiful name. It's
yeah,
Jannah. It's paradise.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, so like I wanted really, really strong Shia names.
Right.
And my wife was like, no, they're just really strong. You know, she's gonna be raised in a culture where it's
We really
like,
want like Zainab, Fatma, Khadija,
Yeah,
which
right.
are beautiful names.
Same
to me.
here.
People
That's what I
call-
wanted.
People call me a boater for that.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I'm
don't
like, what do you
sound
mean
being a
I
boater?
said
boater.
Khudr and someone
Like,
looked
you
at me
know?
like, what?
Yeah. What are you talking about? People are gonna struggle saying their
It's-
name. I'm like,
it's
bro.
so fudging rude. It's so rude for you to listen to someone's list of names and be like, no, I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm like, who are you?
Who are you? Right.
You know what I mean? My mom tells me, obviously, the only
your
person.
mom's different.
My
Your
mom's
mom can
different.
tell you, you know?
Like, mom's like, oh, I don't want that name. I'm like, why? It's because I know someone that I don't like their name.
That's so common, though, you know?
Bro, imagine sitting with a group of people. Well, I went through it. Like, oh, I want to name my daughter, for example, this. Like, oh, no, you should name Giselle. I fucking look at him. The fuck you just say to me? I'm going to name my fucking daughter after, like, a fucking deer?
No, you'll get torched if you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a touchy subject. Everyone's free to name what they want.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm like, me personally, bro, like.
Just let me be, bro.
Yeah, some of the people, like, okay, just because we were born here, like, if I go to Lebanon and go to my village and tell them I'm naming
Garth Farhat.
Giovanni. Like, you know, they're going to look at me like.
No, it's personal.
It just depends on where you grew up.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And again, mind you, bro, like, this is not a knock to people that don't name Arabic names.
It's not a knock at all.
It's just don't think I'm the weirdo for doing it.
Yeah, no, like, don't call me weird for naming something like that, you know?
What's changing in nowadays is people are naming their daughters American non-traditional names.
I
don't care. It's whatever they want.
Again, I wouldn't do it for myself. I'm against it, but I don't give a fuck if you do it. It's your kid.
Well,
but don't tell me how to name my kid.
Am I a hypocrite because I feel like I had to name my son something like hardcore, like
so he doesn't lose it?
Muslim name, like versus my daughter. I don't know why I see like if I have a daughter and God blesses me with a daughter, like something nice and feminine.
You might say that. Honestly, I went through
I don't know.
You might say that. You never know.
When I get there, you know.
Listen, man. I told my wife if we were to have a son, I'm gonna name him Haidar. Right after my brother, I want to name Haidar, and if we have a daughter, we're gonna have to talk about it because my was like, well, I want to name the girls. I'm like, all right. I told her because I was so confident we were gonna have a boy. I was like, all right, bet if you name the girl, it's all you. Well, the second we found we had a girl, but yeah, we gotta stop.
I'm the opposite. I want to name the daughters, and I want the name the sons. Obviously, son is huge, but honestly, I always want a daughter.
But that's what it seems like. It's like if we have this gender, I'm naming this. If we have this, like it's gonna be a conversation between both of you guys. Like I swear to you, me and my wife didn't find out what the gender of our baby was probably till about 7 or 8 months in.
Damn.
We found out we didn't do like a test. We just found like at the ultrasound where they were able to tell us when we found out. I didn't even know when the hell that was. We did a blood
test. You're able to do a blood test at 10 weeks, right? And the results came back inconclusive.
Yeah.
And so many people bugged us and asked us like on a daily basis, like, do you know yet? Do you know yet? That me and my wife were like, whatever we have, alhamdulillah. And it's a 50-50 chance.
Right.
I mean, nowadays, you know, with all the shit going on, who knows what my child could come out with, you know, but in my eyes, what I believe, it's either going to be a boy or it's going to be a girl, right? So whatever God blesses me with, I just want a healthy baby. I want my wife to have a healthy delivery, and I want to live happily ever after.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what it comes out, you know? So we waited literally 7-8 months on purpose. We're like, the doctor's like, do you want to know yet? We're like, no. We're fine. Is the baby healthy? Yep, that's all that matters. You know, when we're ready to find out and tell people, we'll tell them. And it was to the point where people thought we were like hiding something.
Yeah.
Is everything okay?
And you got to
everyone wants to know your personal business, bro.
You don't want to tell people too early because like
you never know. You never know what happens.
Miscarriages happen. It's a disaster.
It's
not right to just start going on.
Right.
So I don't know. I waited.
There's some things in the culture that there's some things like, you're supposed to marry your kids in order. You're not supposed to marry your youngest before your oldest or something like that.
That's the dumbest thing.
So dumb.
I believe. I don't.
Everyone has their timing in life. Everyone has, you know, this destination, this story that they're supposed to live out. Like, and I feel like everything ties into this. Like it's like school. Like right now, just because I'm 27 and I have a family and stuff, if I'm motivated, I could still go back in my timing maybe to finish at 28, right?
Well, good thing about school is it's never going away, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, you know, and
it's always there.
And that's the cool thing about it is everyone has their timing. Like my older brother got married. My brother got married in the beginning of this year, and he's 4 years older than me. So what? I got married at 23, 24 years old at a young age. Yeah. And like I tell my little brother, like, bro, don't think you have to get married at Ned's age, and don't think you have to get married at my age. When you're presented with, you know, a good girl and you're in your career and you're taking off and you're doing your thing, like
when you're ready to do it, do it. Yeah,
absolutely. Got their timing, you know.
I tell people don't rush it. It'll come and it'll come.
Right.
Don't be like Cal though. All the girls chase you forever. You gotta settle down once in a while, but like, you know.
I don't know what multiverse you're living in, bro. But no, there's a lot of things in the culture that I agree with and I love. And then there's things that are like, all right, that makes no sense. That our westernized ideology is not mixing in with the third world, like the way they do it. And it happens every day. I think that's why we're the most unique generation because we're raised by boaters.
Yeah, but we
got there. But we got raised by the Western culture.
Yeah, our environment was the Western culture, but we were raised by boaters.
Yeah, got slapped.
Listen, especially guys like us, like we all went to Dearborn High.
Yeah.
You know, not a knock against any other school, but like, let's just say Fortson, for example. There's a much larger population of Arab Americans, not just Lebanese.
Like 98%.
Right? And even the staff there is, there's a lot of Arab there where, like, it's like,
Everyone is
they'll
white.
grab you by your ear.
Yeah,
But, like, if a teacher from a different culture grabbed me by my ear at Dearborn High, it would have been a shit show. You know what I mean? So, like, that also I feel like helped us too. I mean, bro, listen, I grew up hanging out on the east side, but I went to west side schools my whole life. Like, my family, my friends, everything was in the east side. But I went to Lindbergh, I went to Hague, I went to Bryant, and I went to Dearborn High.
Hague.
Right.
Like I never understood that about this guy. He was like the most different. It was like the more like us than.
Listen, I don't know. I always said I was an east side kid, even though I lived by Leathergood my whole life. I was an east side mentality kid stuck in a west side school.
There.
So I feel like I was heavily misunderstood in high school.
Right, The culture is different.
The culture, the passion, the aggression. I was like, not aggressive where like I don't know how to properly hold myself, but like I was a passionate guy. Like if you see me playing football or
you had
basketball,
a decent amount of enemies.
A decent amount.
I always tell people, I'm like, bro,
are you doing anything right if you don't have enemies?
No, I always like people always talk. I'm like, bro, like I'm close friends with them. Like I see I have no problem.
Listen, people used to see the person that I was on the basketball court, on the football field.
Yeah.
And like that is my like 40 minutes of like become a beast and do whatever it needs to be, whether it's talking shit, whether it's playing physical, whether it's doing. Listen, when I'm here, this is what I'm here to do. Get me off the court, ask Cal, I'm the nicest guy in the world. But you put me on there, I'm a whole different person.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's how.
That's passion.
Listen,
that's what that is.
We grew up down the street from Detroit. We live in Metro Detroit. There's one road between us and Detroit. Like I used to play for travel basketball teams in Detroit. When I see these great players playing with that type of style, that type of swagger. Yeah. They're being physical. They're talking smack. They're showing that passion. They make a basket. They're yelling in your face. Like, that's the culture of basketball, bro. It's not like the message so much was like, stay humble. And I'm like, bro, I am humble. Like, my mom will grab me by my ear right now in front of the whole school. Like, I am. But when I'm playing, like, don't get in the way of my passion.
Do you remember when freshman year, man, there were so much times. I think we caused freshman year, you were a freshman at Fortson, and then you were doing good as a senior, and we kept chanting, he's a freshman.
Yeah.
And that whole team and that whole got so mad at us. There was piles of fights in the front. It was so funny.
Yeah, I've had some people waiting for me in the parking lot after some rivalry games.
Yeah.
I've had referees cuss me out, guys. I've had everything you can name in the basketball world has happened to me. I've come across very racist people at every level, high school, college, pro. I've come across some of the best people. Lifelong friends, that really went out of their way to help me and get me to the places where I was at. I mean, at one point, guys, I was a 4-year starter. By the time it was my senior year, I had broken the city of Dearborn's scoring record, Dearborn High's scoring record. I was second team All-State, and I led the state in scoring back-to-back years, right? So I averaged 27 points as a junior and almost 29 points as a senior. Like, I was well known.
Yeah.
But I was not getting the looks that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of it, I feel, was like, like I said earlier, Dearborn's known for football, not basketball. I'm a 6'1" Arabic kid. Like, when has there been many of us? Like, I can only count a couple of kids on the palm of my hand that played college basketball, and one of them's my younger brother. You know what I mean? So I went through hoops, bro, to get to where I got to, and it wasn't easy.
What I think is different? There's so much talent. I think Dearborn just threw it. Bro, your cousin Hussein Amin's a monster. Like, those guys, there's
so many guys
people
that if they were just guided by the right people, and even myself, I feel like some of the coaches that I had mad love for everyone I played for, but there are some people who didn't know how to deal with my personality and didn't know how to get to me. One of the guys who did, I don't know if you guys remember Coach Barkov.
Yeah.
Kevin Barkov.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, what a guy. Like, he was so patient. He knew what I wanted. He knew how much I loved the game. And he did everything to just gauge that fire I had in the right direction. And there, on the flip side, there was other guys who were like, no, trying to put their finger in my face. And whoever knows me knows I don't react good like that. Like, I'm more good with a calm, cool, collected person who lets me speak my mind.
Yeah.
I felt like I was...
Someone that treats you like a human being.
Maybe I was too mature at that age.
Yeah.
Because, bro, at a point, I was 13 years old as a freshman playing with 18-year-olds on varsity. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just on the court stuff. It was off the court stuff that I was seeing as well. Like, by the time I was a senior, I felt like, bro, I'm too old to be here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I needed somebody to be at, like, that eye level with me to, like, understand and give me that respect. And I was definitely going to give them double the respect they gave me because at the end of the day, I was still a kid. I was still somebody who wanted to learn and was hungry. But I don't feel like I was gauged and helped in the right ways.
You think if you went to Fortson, it would have been worse?
I almost did go to Fortson.
I know you did. Like,
I was like an offer away on a home. Like, my family was going to move. You know, that's how many, you know.
Move or just change the address?
No, we were going to move.
Where,
we were
East
gonna
Dearborn?
move. Yeah, we were going to move to East Dearborn, bro.
Who the hell moves from
You
West
know?
to East Dearborn?
No, it's not popular, but, you know, at the end of the day, if it's taking care of the next 4 years of college, it's worth it. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so and, you know, we had trusted people at Fortson. You know, Coach Osama over there is the man. Haj Zaban is the man. Like, Haj Zaban is a relative of my mother's. Like, Osama to me was a coach. Osama Abdul Hassan, you know.
Yeah.
Os was a guy who was like, he was never my coach, but there would be nights where he's texting me at 10, 11 o'clock. Right now, I play for the rival school. He's not supposed to want what's best for me, but he still did, you know. And he'd still give me pointers and tips. And I remember one night, me and Jawad Hashim, we were like the first group of AAU travel basketball kids for hype, you know. And it was like 10 o'clock at night, and Osama texts Jawad, and he's like, you know, what are you doing? Where are you at? I'm at Fortson's gym. Can you pull up for a minute? He's like, yeah, I have Ali Farhat with me, whatever. He's like, no problem. Bring him with you. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's go. Show up there. I swear to God, before we knew it, 10, 15 minutes later, bro, I was in jeans and Converse.
Yeah.
I'm now running sprints up and down Fortson's court at 11 at night, like doing, you know, pump fake, dribble, shoot, like getting critiqued on my game. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But when I went and left, I'm like, man, this guy really cares about us, you know? And I feel like
That's what's missing in Dearborn High sports.
yeah, it is. But nowadays, like when I look at that football staff and I look at that basketball staff,
It's a lot different now.
I wish I could have been playing in this modern era. Bro, Twitter came out. Like Twitter, I made a Twitter like probably end of junior year, beginning of senior year.
Yeah.
Same thing with Instagram.
If that was,
You know?
if it was bumping the way it was bumping, like it was bad.
I wish I not just me, forget me. Like, bro, maybe you could have played a college sport. I'm not lying. There's a lot of guys who have a lot of potential. There just wasn't the exposure. There wasn't the help. Like, you know, who knew how to make a highlight tape?
It was also really political.
I didn't know
too.
how to make a highlight tape. Things
Very
are
political.
so political.
Very political.
Listen, as far as sports go,
Dearborn High is
the one thing I
political
could
to
say
urban.
is like I was on the good side of the politics.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't really give them a choice. You know, like what are you gonna do? Bench me? Like,
Yeah,
you know,
you
like
can't,
for what?
yeah,
I have
yeah.
good grades. I have a good attitude. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm good at the sport, right? But I feel like some of our kids, they feed into that too much. Like, there's politics. Like, there is definitely, right? But work your ass off and do good in the classroom. Like, no coach wants a kid who has a 2.2.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, he doesn't know if, like, you were the kid who has a 3.8 that was maybe just a little bit worse than you.
Yeah.
Are going to be on the team. Like, I myself would take the kid who's good in class, does the extracurricular activities. I know he's not going to argue with me at practice. He's going to get good grades, and he's going to be a positive effect on my team.
It also shows motivation.
Versus-
This person's going to work.
He's hungry. Some of our kids,
Yeah.
like, we have the talent. Some of the Arab are very super talented, but it's our attitude we got to get straight. It's our discipline that we
Yeah,
gotta
but you
get
also
straight,
had
you know?
problems at Dearborn High.
Of course I had problems at Dearborn High. I'm not a kid who knows how to hide my emotions. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So if someone pisses me off or someone makes a remark to me, I don't know how to hide that. And there were some administration members who ignored a lot of things that were going on with me. I mean, I was a 15, 16-year-old kid who had people who loved me and people who despised me.
Yeah.
And people who would have done anything to see me go down. Could you guys imagine Division I schools calling Dearborn High?
Yeah.
And mind you, this is under a completely different administration. And I'm not going to go further than that. Obviously, coaches, I love my coaches at Dearborn.
I
I'm
say
talking
something?
purely
Did
administration.
I drop names or no?
No, that's on you.
I have
You can drop
issues.
names if you want.
I
You're
have
talking about the
issue-
Boffman administration?
Boffman's a
the
clown.
Boffman era. I
mean, the
don't-
Boffman era is
You don't have
gone.
to
I mean, you can
speak.
say what the fuck you want.
I
now.
do not like, what's his name?
Chuck Boffman?
Chuck Boffman.
I didn't like him either.
I
Fuck
didn't
him.
like
That guy
him.
gave me hell, guys.
I don't like him either.
For
the
just,
guy,
you
the
know?
guy. Listen, I don't. I've never had a racial encounter with him, but the guy literally had a reputation of being a fucking racist.
We
They're
had him on
racist.
video. You know, we didn't tell anyone this because we showed Miss Terry and she's like, "Listen, I don't know if I'm dropping." we
Shout out Miss Terry.
Shout out Miss Terry. We showed Miss Terry the video and she's like, "Hey, like that's a
that away.
lawsuit on your hands. If you guys want to walk, I would recommend don't showing anyone that because he allowed you. We're not gonna go through the depth
Don't
of
go
what
into
happened.
detail like that, but it's just like, I mean, the guy running our school at the time absolutely hated us. I know he
Yeah.
used to pull guys in there and just
Torch
harass
us.
them.
Yeah.
Bro, senior year, someone painted the tractor at Forts in orange. And this guy pulls me and a friend in, and he's like, I know you guys did it, specifically you, and he points at me. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like, what did I do? I'm 18 years old at this point. Like, bro, my eyes are barely open. It's 7:20 a.m., you know? I had Miss Ferris for first hour forensics. Bro, the whole first semester
worst
and
class
part
to
of
have.
second semester, senior year, before I would walk in that door, she would just be like, Ali, just go to the office. I don't even know what they want from you at this point. I'm like, well, Miss Ferris, you know, you're the best. And I just would go to the office and sit for like half a first hour in there and just get tormented, bro. And if I wasn't mentally tough and didn't know my parents had my back the way they did, I would have collapsed.
Oh,
I would have developed
legit.
anxiety. I would have had, my own insecurities. Not that it didn't affect me when I was there.
No.
There was a lot of people who were trying to get me off the basketball team, get me off the football team, get me out of Dearborn High.
I would have left all
I did try until some stuff didn't work and ended up staying, and I think it worked out for the better. Alhamdulillah, everything worked out perfectly. But that's literally those reasons that I'm telling you guys are the reasons my younger brother Yusuf went to Fortson.
Yeah.
There's
nothing wrong with that, man.
I don't want to make the same mistake twice.
No, I don't.
So, but now there's different coaches. The basketball program is Michael Ali and Abe Mashur. Two guys who are Mashur's an assistant basketball coach. He's got a couple of sons on the team who are phenomenal.
I love that guy.
I
want him on here.
Abe Mashur is a great guest.
I love him. Everyone loves him.
He's a good guy, and he cares about the kids. So look at these two coaches that are there who have coached at the college level, who have coached NBA talent. Michael Ali's literally helped kids get to the NBA and get overseas. He's literally the reason, and this guy was never my coach, just somebody who looked out, who got me my private workout at Eastern and got my name out there and essentially, got my foot in the door when not many people were willing to do that. People were too busy pointing at me saying, you're not going to go D1. When I ended up getting a scholarship and doing my thing and playing against Kentucky, Duke, Syracuse, whoever you want, that people didn't really have much left
Nowadays,
to say.
it's so much.
Yeah,
it's so much more accessible.
And then look at the football staff now.
It's amazing. I love these guys.
I just seen Mike Ajmi today.
Yeah.
We're trying to push to get this youth camp going. We got Ziad, Hobbs. Is Mays coaching?
I think he
is.
I don't know if I dropped information that wasn't supposed to be.
Who knows? But that guy. He is
coaching,
great addition. He was my favorite coach senior
100%.
year. Easily. Everyone knew Mason. Mason was the man.
All those guys are
the
great.
culture's turned. It's changed. I wish I played under this era. Not a knock against Barkov and Mifsa, two great guys. But there was just some Kel, can I tell the story about your cleats?
No, don't, please.
Okay, we'll save it for next time. But, they're definitely doing a great job at Dearborn High now. I think they're doing a great job at Fortson, too. Maybe I'm a little biased because I went to Dearborn High. I love what they're doing at Dearborn High. But, guys, my wife's little brother, Muhammad Habib, save that name, okay? This kid is 6 foot.
How old is he?
6'8". He's a sophomore in high school at Fortson right now. He's getting invited to the elite top 25 players in the state camps as a sophomore.
For what?
For basketball. He's getting attention from private schools. He's getting attention from schools that are Division I level right now as a sophomore. The kid's 6'8". So I was 6'1". I thought I was tall when I stand by him, bro. I didn't want to take a picture with him anymore.
Yeah, we got good genes,
He's
going to
be the next. Yeah, inshallah, my son's 6'8", right? But there's kids up and coming, and I think all these programs are doing great stuff. And I want to be that guy because I've already helped a couple of kids get to Lebanon and now play overseas. I want to be that guy who's opening that door back and forth.
Of course.
Yeah.
I'm down to help anybody. This is like a message.
Category.
Anybody. Bro, Hasbi is the man. Hasbi's a pure example of somebody who came in with nothing and made everything out of it. What
he shouted you out. He loves you.
Yeah, I love Haas, bro. I watched him grow up as a kid, bro. Develop into what he is now. And he took a walk-on position just like I took a walk-on position. Like I got my respect. He got more than his respect, bro. The guy's one of the best receivers in the nation, if you ask my opinion right now. And what is he? Is Haas super tall?
Top 10.
No.
Is
he super strong, super fast, No.
Hard worker.
Just a hard worker, bro. He does the right stuff. He's got a good character. He's disciplined. He does the right things.
3 athletes this year got drafted to the NFL. It's proven. It's getting better and better.
It's getting better. We're almost there. And, I want to develop, relationships with all these kids, and I want to end up coaching, eventually because, and that's a big reason, guys, why I stepped away from Rocket Mortgage is, one, I want to be around my kid more. 2, I opened up my own company, Guided Lending, by the way.
Shout out Guided Lending.
Shout out Guided Lending.
Because I want to be around the kids more. I do want to get into coaching. I don't know. This summer – I'm going to be making that decision, inshallah, with my family on whether I'm going to continue playing pro or not, because I don't have to go for a full season anymore. Sometimes I can go for shorter periods of time, and maybe I'm too stubborn. I feel like I can still play because I can. But, you guys know, we had the conversation earlier on, pros and cons, but I want to start coaching.
Yeah.
I want to get around the kids more.
Yeah.
I want to see these kids make the right decisions and learn from the mistakes that I made because when I was growing up, like I said, I could count the number of collegiate basketball athletes on my hand. Who am I going to ask for help?
Yeah.
Nobody. I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Who's that kid that's coaching insane right now?
Nizam.
Niz. Yeah.
Hassan Nizam. Guys, another name. Hassan Nizam. Don't be surprised if at some point in the near future this guy lands on an NBA roster. Mm-hmm. He's 27, 28 years old. You know him personally? He's one of my best friends.
Allah, we'll get him on.
He's a great person to have on here. What a perspective to see. The guy coaches at the collegiate level right now, and in the summer.
Where's he at right now?
He's at Macomb
Community
College, and they're a top ranked program in the nation.
What school did he overturn? It was a
Roseville
high school. Yeah, he took the school from nothing.
They went from nothing to the Elite Eight. I don't know if you guys understand what
I've seen all the posts about him on the City of Dearborn.
Yeah, he was playing at Detroit Mercy in the Elite Eight. At one point, he won the MHSAA Coach of the Year, and he was also the youngest coach in the entire state.
Yeah.
This is big stuff here.
He looks like a nice
stuff
kid.
that's seen often, you know?
Looks like a good
So
guy.
he's a great guy. He's humble, and he works his ass off. Just like that's the message to everybody is like, if you work hard, you do the right things, you keep your faith up, and you're just not a dirtbag, you're gonna get to where you need to get to.
100%.
You know? Is there obstacles? Yeah. How many
Absolutely.
obstacles did you have in grad school, bro?
Bro, forget about grad school.
Seriously.
Look at the real world, man.
The real world, but just I'm saying
Life.
like what you
Yeah,
want to do, bro.
100%,
Nothing's
100%.
easy.
Of
Kel,
course, no,
Was
yeah.
learning your profession easy by
No.
any means?
I know.
Did you have to get out of your comfort zone?
Yes.
So what I want from the kids in our community and the young kids growing up is get out of the bubble, get out of your comfort zone. Apply to schools outside of here. Go
Yeah.
live away from home. It'll put some hair on your damn
Yeah.
chest.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it'll teach you to get away from mama's jaddara and kafta.
That was
you
honestly
know,
one of the best decisions I ever made was leaving here and
best
going
thing in
to-
the world. You
and-
went to Western, right?
Yep.
Bro, amazing.
Yeah,
You
one
know?
of the best decisions I ever made. I swear to God.
Living in Ann Arbor for those couple of years that I lived there, I came back, lived at home, then went back to Lebanon for 5 or 6 years.
No one
like,
ever, yeah.
Bro, it changed my whole perspective on life.
Teaches
It's
you so
such a
much about
different
yourself.
view.
Things you didn't know about yourself you would have never
Oh,
have
yeah.
learned unless you did it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a huge thing is like, get out.
No,
Go
of
learn
course.
something. Go meet different
No one
people.
cares about your problems, bro. Just get your shit done. Well, that's all. At the end of the day.
That is, at the end of the day, yeah, it is.
Quick before we start wrapping up, or that guided lending.
Guided lending.
Is
yeah,
the market gonna crash? Everyone says that. Well, the market will never crash the way it did because the regulations were wild back in the day. There was no
agree.
regulations.
There was no regulations.
If you ever really want to know about it, watch The Big Short. That
Big Short is a great
sums
movie.
it
Yeah.
fantastically.
Yeah.
But it'll never crash. It'll go. It's slowing down right now.
Listen,
interest
what
rates are
we're
getting
seeing
wild.
right now, guys, is, you know, as home values start to drop a little bit,
Yeah.
interest rates will continue to rise
Yeah,
up.
but that's
Yeah. So
temporarily
will there
paying a
be
little bit
some
more.
type of a crash? Yeah, I definitely think there's going to be some type of a
10,
crash.
15% max.
Is it going to be what we seen in 2008? No, because like Cal
hell
said, it's
no.
regulated. Like back in the day, Cal, if you took my Polo and got a phone, you could be like, I'm a broker, and this is what I do.
You got a
know?
guy that appraises houses for triple the value, and you just got a
Bro,
better
they were
cash out
giving out
refi.
loans to nobodies back then, man. They didn't
Yeah,
care.
you know,
Yeah.
to qualify
Yeah.
for 100,000,
It's
you know,
pre-approval. You have to
in
show two
pre-approval.
W. Yeah, it's 2
You know,
years W two.
It's different. People are,
everything.
yeah, and listen, it's still an existing, you know, practice where people obviously moff documents and do stuff, but it's mortgage fraud. You don't want to do that stuff. Stuff
Yeah.
is regulated. That's how you crash the market. But
Right.
you know, guided lending, guys. My partners, my brother Ned, my cousin Robbie Sharara, two guys who've been in the industry for a very long time and did it at a high level.
Yeah.
Robbie was a director of mortgage banking. Ned was a senior banker and a senior account executive. Myself,
people.
I was a banker and account executive. So we know, you know, basically every outlet. And, you know, the reason why we came up with guided lending is our stamp is learn the process. We don't want to just, you know, trust me. No, let's
I wanna
teach
teach
you.
you.
What's
And-
your income look like? What's your
Right,
assets?
right,
What,
right.
what does it take to qualify?
And that's
you
very
know?
important. People don't know that, man. Like I was telling this guy because at the time I bought my home. You know, when I wanted to buy a house, I was a second-year law student. Mind you, I have a JD.
Right.
Where I specialize in real estate law now. And when
Right.
people were explaining the mortgage process to me, I was like, it was fucking Japanese.
Right.
Yeah, well, you're not gonna have points here. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Kickbacks,
but
everything.
Yeah, huh?
That's something that salesmen sometimes do. I don't like to look at myself like a
Yeah.
salesman, right?
Yeah.
I say like, listen, I'm going to teach you this process. I'm going to give you options,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm going to tell you what I think, and then I'm going to give you the choice, right? I'm putting the power back in your hands. Listen, one of the biggest things that we're working on, because we're going to be coming out with content soon, videos.
Yeah.
We want to do like a little table talk with our, you know,
probably gonna
people.
clip
We're
this and
bringing
send-
special guests. Obviously, like we want to do something similar, not to a podcast, but just a table talk to get out basic questions, right? And analogies are perfect, right?
Yeah.
People, you know, sometimes like here, let me give you an example. It's like, what am I approved for? Okay, what's your credit score and what does your credit report look like? But you can't pull my credit.
What are you saving up your credit for?
No, it's not just that. It's like you got to understand the reason why I'm asking to see your credit
No,
report and
yeah.
put your
Yeah.
credit. It's like, Kawili, if your car is making a janky sound and the engine's messed up, are you going to take it to a mechanic and be like, what's wrong with my car? And he's like, hey, okay, let me open up your hood and see. And you're like, you lock your car and you're like, no.
Right, 100%.
You're not allowed to open up my hood.
It's-
very similar.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
what I
100%.
do,
of course.
you know?
It's
Let me
very
dissect.
important,
Let
'cause,
me
like-
see. You
Like
know?
I learned it myself, and I it's good that you guys do it the way you do, because people really don't know the process, man.
Yeah.
And it's like they really. I'm telling you, I didn't understand a thing.
Yeah.
No, of course, bro.
Like they're explaining it to me, and I don't know what the hell. I had to pause the guy like 4 times. I had to have him send me all the documents and me read everything on my own.
No,
Like, they do a horrible job generally explaining everything.
The bank is going to give you a big loan. They're going to need 2 years of income to show that you're qualified. They got to show your credit score because they want to know if you're a donkey with your money.
Yeah.
There's so much to it, and that's the reason why it'll never crash.
The
Before,
formula
it was
is
not like
simple.
that.
The formula is simple. You know, you
DTI,
have
all
income,
that stuff.
assets, credit, your debt to income ratio on a monthly basis, right? Closing costs, guys, are generally the same on every loan.
Everyone, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Unless you choose to buy something like points, where points basically means you're paying to get a lower rate.
Yeah.
Right? So there's things that are basic, right? And it's just, I feel like people get too nervous, and sometimes people are trying to hide something. That's why they don't explain everything.
100%.
The first thing I do is like, hey, let's go to your loan estimate and let's go through lines A,
Yeah,
B, C. Like we
definitely.
go down the line in depth. Because
You
don't
have
want,
to.
You don't want to be at the closing table and all of a sudden your
Questions
client,
are coming up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. That should
Right.
all be taken care of up front.
Right,
during
you
the
go into
pre-approval
closing, you get
process, in my
signatures.
opinion.
Everyone's on the
Right?
same page. You move on. Yeah.
You should have your client on the same page as you throughout the entire way.
Right, right.
You know?
Oh,
And there's
of
not,
course.
listen, between me, my brother, and my cousin, who all have been doing this for a long time, there's not many situations we haven't come across, right? So
Yeah.
mortgages can be simple where it's like, okay, income, assets, credit, right? But it's the person's situation that sometimes is fishy.
100%.
And it's your job to get in and out of guidelines, similar like a lawyer finding the loopholes.
100%.
Similar with us
100%.
is where are we going to get you qualified at and with what program and with what lender? You know?
Of course, yeah.
So, you know,
Guided lending.
guided
if you
lending,
want to
we're
buy a
doing something
house.
special. You guys looking to buy, take cash out, refinance? I mean, we have multiple options for you. So, you know, reach out to us.
Okay, guys, that was Ali Farhat, the podcast on Minority Pod. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We do also have merch. Sponsor thing real quick.
Yeah, last thing. Obviously, shout out to Guided Lending. Starting at the next episode, we'll be announcing our sponsorship packages. We're gonna be able to sponsor an episode prior to us releasing it. We'll get your information on there, your logo. We'll give you a shout out at the beginning of the show, give you a shout out at the end of the show. And hopefully you guys sign up. It's all for support, and we're hoping to support you guys at the end too.
Thank you for coming, Farhat. And any
pleasure,
last
boy.
words to the viewers?
The viewers, guys, keep tuning in. These guys have great content. Like I said in the beginning, they're bringing on so many different people with different views. I love what they're doing. Without you guys, obviously, they wouldn't be possible. I'm sure they're super thankful for all of your support. Thank you to everybody for supporting me, too, in my journey. Hopefully, the journey continues.
Yes,
Hopefully.
sir.
Well, I guess
we
we'll
will
find
have
out
you
this
on.
summer, right?
Yes, sir.
Have a good one. Thank you for coming on, and stay classy.
Take it easy.